So I just did a compression check, and the compression on cylinder number 1 is about 20 psi. So definitely have something wrong. I'm going to dig in here and see if I can find out what the root cause is. So I pulled the valve cover, rotated the engine till both valves are loose on number 1. Cylinder number 4, which is the companion cylinder, is rocking on the valves. I put a pull handle on the crankshaft pulley and wedged it against the suspension there to keep the engine from rotating when I put air in. I'm using a hose off an old compression tester. I have a fitting for my shop air. If you use a compression tester to do this, you'll have to remove this valve because it'll only allow air to come out, not go in. Won't work otherwise. So let me hook up some shop air to this, and let's see if we can hear where it's leaking. So clearly my leak is out the exhaust pipe. I have an exhaust valve evidently burned. Just make sure if you do this that your rocker arms are loose. If you're in doubt, just unbolt the rocker shafts. Then it doesn't matter if the engine rotates. If you have leakage out of valve and you know the valve's closed, then the valve has a problem. You can also do this without that hose if you have a long rubber tipped air blower and a helper who can listen for the leak while you put air into the cylinder. So if you don't have a compression gauge, this is one way to check a cylinder if you have a known misfire on that cylinder. So here's a really condensed tear down video. Go ahead and pull this inner fender out. You're gonna have to anyway. I pulled the surge tank, the coolant surge tank, upper engine support, and the bracket. There are 3 bolts that come in from the inside. Power steering pump, 3 bolts holding it on. AC compressor, I'm not sure I pulled that off the easy way, but I got it off. Then pull the front cover. That's probably the most difficult part because it's glued on there with RTV. A little bit hard to get it broken loose. Unplug the injector connectors, the map sensor, vacuum hose, throttle cable, EGR valve, fuel supply line, and there's a coolant line back here that goes to the heater. And on the front, the exhaust, my bolts looked a little bit sketchy, so I just took the studs out. They came out easily. I'll just let the manifold hang there. All I need to do is pull the rocker arms and the head bolts. I had the cam gear broken loose. I marked the timing chain. I'll probably replace that, I'm not sure. I don't know how much life's left in this car, so I'll decide. But I marked it just in case. So there is the culprit, the number 1 exhaust valve. So it looks like I'm going to need a new valve and a valve job. This engine has had an oil consumption problem since it had about 100,000 miles on it. I understand that's common with this engine. There's a problem with the design of the piston and the oil ring. I don't know whether I can just buy rings and put it on these pistons. I'll have to check that out. I really don't want to go deep into this engine. I'm probably not going to keep the car. We just use it as a sidekick, but I'll do a little shopping, see what's available, and I'll be back to put it back together. You stay tuned. Thanks for watching.